welcome back to Mancinima. Hope you've all had a lovely week. Before we get started, if you could find the thumbs up button down below on the panel and hit it, that would be great for me. It just helps the channel out a great deal. It just lets people know that we're here, lets YouTube know that we're out there, and to spread the word, so that would be great. If you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. If you have already subscribed to the channel, please don't touch that button. But if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe channel button down below. There's loads of videos on this. There's about 70 odd videos on this channel of all different things, collecting, dinosaurs, film reviews, that kind of thing. Please go and have a good look through. Hope you enjoy a lot of them. But yeah, if you can subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. Also, if you could hit the notification bell, you'll know when I've done a brand new video. So, with that said, let's get on with today's film review. And so on to today's movie, which is the action-packed thriller John Wick Chapter 4, arriving 4 years after the last chapter, John Wick, obviously Chapter 3, which was released in 2019. Now, the one thing I will say before we start this review is, if you haven't already seen the first 3 John Wick movies, what I'm about to tell you may sound very, very confusing plot-wise. And personally, I think it might be an idea before you watch Chapter 4 to quickly go and get those 3 movies and get yourself all caught up, because otherwise you won't really know what's going on by the time you watch Chapter 4. So at the start of John Wick Chapter 4, we find John Wick hiding out in New York City underground with the Bowery King. Now, the Bowery King is played by Lawrence Fishburne, and he's a friend of his. While he's there, he's plotting his revenge against the High Table being a league of assassins, if you like, who rule the underworld. And they've put a target on John Wick's back. So what John decides to do is he decides to travel to Morocco and have a word with the Elder, and the Elder is the only person who's considered above the High Table. And when the Elder says that he can't help him and John is basically dead, John decides to take him out and kill him. Word of this gets out to the Marquis, a Frenchman who is living in, obviously, Paris, and he's played by Bill Skarsgård, and he decides to hire one of John Wick's former friends, a character called Kane, played by Donnie Yen, to take out John Wick. And the threat is, if Kane doesn't take John Wick out, Kane's daughter will be murdered. So there's that kind of threat added upon him. So yeah, so we got Kane hunting down John Wick. And that is the basic plot, really. I mean, I don't really want to go into too much detail for you without giving you spoilers. There is a lot more to it. But basically, that is the plot of the film. It's all about the taking out of John Wick and the hunt for him across various different landscapes, including Paris. Director Chad Stahelski directed the 3 previous John Wick movies and does an absolutely superb job with this one. I would say probably this one is my favourite out of the saga to date. The film is both beautifully shot and visually stunning in both its exterior and its interior locations. The landscapes of Morocco, for example, are fantastic. The natural colours just look beautiful on the screen. And also then when we go into the nightclubs where you've got the neon light effects splashing off the water effects, it's just something to behold. It really does look like a beautiful film when you're watching this, and that's something to appreciate. The aforementioned nightclub scene is just one of a number of amazing set pieces within this film. There's an incredible kind of battle around the Arc de Triomphe in Paris that involves a lot of car chasing and a lot of fighting, a lot of sword work, that is just a marvel to look at. And there's also an incredible scene, I won't say where, but it's up a flight of stairs, going up this massive, massive flight of stairs, where John has to contend with a number of assassins on his way up and seeing if he can battle his way up. So yeah, some incredible, amazing set pieces within this movie. The camera work is also amazing. There's one scene where John's walking into an abandoned building and there's loads of assassins after him, and the camera goes up and it tracks him from above like a bird's eye view. So like you're looking down on one of those, remember Cluedo, when you see the room maps from above? It's very similar to that, so you can watch John moving from room to room and you can see the people coming towards him, and I thought that was absolutely incredible. Amazing piece of filmmaking there. With all the fight work and all the sword work and all the stunts, the film is beautifully choreographed from the very, very start, and it moves along at a breakneck pace. I think it's 2 hours and 49 minutes long, so just shy of 3 hours, but when you're watching the film you really don't notice it because it does move from the very start. It's pretty much, once the action starts, it never really stops. It goes from set piece to set piece to set piece, and you find yourself a little bit exhausted by the very end of it, but that's a good exhaustion. And I think we all know that Keanu Reeves has never been the world's greatest actor, but he really does give it his all in these sequences. You've really got to admire the amount of work he puts into the fight sequences and the choreography and the gun work, and he does it all himself. There's videos on YouTube, if you go and have a look, of him actually doing his training in the gun work. So yeah, it really does put an amount of hard work into this movie, and it really pays off. It really does make it enjoyable for the viewer to sit there and watch all this action going on around you. Another standout I found was Donnie Yen. Now Donnie Yen you may know from Rogue One. He was Chirrut Imwe, who was the blind warrior in that as well. And he is incredible in this movie. His martial arts work is absolutely stunning. His movements, the fluidity of his movements and his fighting is incredible just to behold. It's a beauty all in itself. So yeah, he's an incredible character to watch in film as well. And you find yourself kind of feeling mixed feelings towards him, because on the one hand he's out to get John Wick, but on the other hand you know that he's doing it under duress. So you kind of have these mixed feelings for his character, because you admire, like I say, his martial arts work, but you also feel a bit, you know, he's out to get our hero. So yeah, mixed feelings on the character. But Donnie Yen, superb performance in this movie, and well worth a watch. Another character I really liked in this film was the actor Shamir Anderson's character of Tracker, who, along with his sidekick and Alsatian, kind of battles on both sides of the sword, if you know what I mean. He's out there to make some money for himself, and there's always a bounty out on John Wick's head. So he's playing both sides, thinking, you know, if I can make this amount of money, I can take John Wick out. But on the other hand, he admires John Wick, he admires what he does, so he kind of wants to hold back from that. So yeah, he's a very interesting character to watch, and he was one of my favourites during this film. So yeah, Shamir Anderson, superb performance. One thing I did find when watching John Wick Chapter 4 is that it felt like a video game, and that's not a bad thing. I know there's some very bad video game movies out there, but this was not a bad thing. It actually felt like you were watching a live action video game, and of course that comes with the end level and mid level bosses. And there's one mid level boss played by Scott Adkins. He's in a very big, built up, kind of heavy suit, not looking like he usually looks. Like I say, he's very padded out, and he's like this Kingpin type character. If you know Spider-Man, you know the Kingpin, and of course he was in Daredevil as well. So if you know that character, he's very much like that character. And of course John Wick has to battle him in the rain-affected nightclub, and that's some good scenes as well. He's also somewhat humorous as well, because of his size and because of him going up against John Wick. There's some really funny moments in the fight between the pair of them, and yeah, he was a joy to watch as well. And just like some video games, there are scenes where there are endless supplies of warriors. There's a certain scene where John's in there and he's battling the first wave, if you like, of these warriors, and you think, oh okay, that's it, we're going to get to the end of them, and he's killed the last one off, and then we move on to the next bit. But no, more come out of the woodwork, and then more and more and more, and they just seem to be endless, and they come on and they come on. And there's moments where some of these warriors get stabbed, and they get shot, and they fall down, and they get right back up again. And so they seem to be indefeatable, and it takes a couple of bullets before John finally puts them down, and then once he's put them down, even more come out of the woodwork. So yeah, it does seem a little bit incredible, and there's a certain level of disbelief that has to be suspended when you're watching this movie. Even John himself takes a lot of bullets and a lot of stabbing, and he keeps on going, and there's a scene where he falls off a building, and you really feel the crunch, and he's on the floor writhing for a little bit. Within a few seconds he just gets up, brushes himself off, and he's walking again. So yeah, a suspension of disbelief is required when you're watching this movie, but it is a lot of good fun. There's the same thing with a henchman that's in the film as well, and you see him popping up at certain moments, you think, oh, he's dead now. And then later on he'll pop up again, and you go, oh, he's got to be dead now. And then he pops up again. So that was quite amusing as well. So yeah, look out for that character in there. However, with all these fight scenes, some may think that there are too many. I remember during the film last night, my wife leaned across and said this is going on a bit too long. And in that one particular one, I did kind of agree with her. It's right up near the beginning of the film, just once Donnie Yen's character begins to hunt John Wick down. Just after that, the fight sequence breaks out, and it does seem to go on and on and on and on. And there's a little ticker in your mind that's going, okay, let's move on with the plot now. We've had a lot of this spectacle, a lot of this fighting. Let's just move on with the plot for now, and then you can do a bit more fighting a little bit later on down the line. So yeah, right at the beginning of the film, maybe the first act, once Donnie Yen has hunted Keanu down, there's a little bit of a battle that goes on a little bit too long, and you really do feel it. So maybe that could have been trimmed. I know they were talking about a 4-hour cut of this movie, but you know, what are we going to really get out of that if we're going to get more fight sequences? If there's more plot, great. If there's more characterization for the other characters, that's great too, but sometimes I think a little bit too much fighting can be a little bit overkill, and it may actually ruin the movie. But overall, I would say that John Wick 4 is a superb movie. If you like your action movies, this is one of the best ones of the bunch. Is it worth seeing at the cinema? Absolutely, it's worth seeing at the cinema. If you want to see the spectacle, obviously the the cinematography that they've done and the amazing lighting and the amazing fight choreography and stuff like that, absolutely go and see this one at the cinema. It's also one that I'd recommend that you buy when it comes out on disc at the end of the day, because you may want to go back and rewatch some of those fight sequences and stuff like that. So John Wick 4, really enjoyed it. One of my favourite films of the year, probably coming in second behind Scream 6. How much out of 10 would I give it? I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. It's not quite up to the perfect standards though. Like I said, there's a couple of moments where the fight sequences go on that bit too long and you're thinking, just trim this back a bit and let's get on with the story. But overall, yeah, it's a really enjoyable film. Keanu was a fantastic performer in this movie. He does a fantastic job and really gets you rooting him. Donnie Yen, again, incredible. And of course, there's loads of other actors in this film that put in a superb performance as well. That's not to take anything away from any of them. You know, everybody in this film is superb. So yes, go and see John Wick Chapter 4 at the cinema if you want to see the spectacle and appreciate all the hard work that's gone into this movie. And of course, buy it when it comes out again on disc at the end. And that's the end of my review for today. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for sticking with me through this lengthy review. Just want to say, if we can go back over the old routine again, please hit the like button if you've enjoyed this. Really do appreciate it. It really helps my channel out. The more likes I get, the more my channel gets alerted to YouTube and the more people will notice that I'm here. So it just basically lets people know that I'm here and it encourages me to want to do more of these review videos. Of course, if I'm putting these videos out there and nobody's watching them or nobody's liking them, then it's a bit of a waste of time for me and I may as well, you know, move on. But yeah, if you could do that for me, that would be great. If you could subscribe to the channel only if you are new to the channel, I'd appreciate that. Loads of different videos on here. I try to get the variety thing going on with the film reviews and also the trips out and stuff like that. So yeah, if you could do that for me, that'd be great. Hit the notification bell. Most of all, come and have a chat with me in the comments, because some of you have and I've really enjoyed it. And thank you very much for all the new subscribers and all the new people who have liked the videos as well. I really do appreciate that. It means a lot to me. I will see you all next time. I don't know what film's coming up next week, but hopefully we'll have something for you for next week. And if not, I'll see you the week after. Take care.